So I've seen a lot of the Swifties trying to say that Olivia Rodrigo is copying Taylor Swift's Lover rollout because apparently during that time, during the Lover rollout, Taylor Swift had like a Lover mural or whatever. I'm not going to lie to you guys. There is no fucking way Olivia Rodrigo would be copying the Taylor Swift Lover rollout because the Lover rollout was actually objectively a failure, okay? I was there and I remember the time. Lover was a fucking flop. Like, Lover was a flop. Taylor Swift always does well with like streaming numbers and like whatever because her Swifties a very, very dedicated fan base. But in terms of like cultural relevance and cultural impact, Lover really felt like the end of Taylor Swift's career. And something you guys should know is that this mural that you guys claim that Taylor Swift did during her Lover rollout, this butterfly mural that her friend made in Nashville, which is, by the way, full of butterfly murals, was culturally irrelevant. Nobody cared about it. Nobody noticed it. Nobody thought about it. This is actually the first time hearing of it. And I was a fan of Taylor Swift at the time, and I paid pretty close attention to the things that she was doing. So, like, there's no way that Olivia would be copying that because it was a flop and nobody gave a shit. Sorry. There was a series of failures with the way Lover was rolled out. Overall was just kind of like a very cringe single. People like, especially when she was like, "Hey kids, spelling is fun." And then, you know, she had like a Lover billboard. I think she didn't like reveal the album in like a timely way. There was something like weird about that. And then eventually she did You Need to Calm Down, which was fine, but people also kind of low-key felt was performative because, like, you know, the orange guy was already president and her wading into activism so late while she had been kind of seen as like a right-wing, like people thought that she was a Republican for a long time. Like she didn't say anything when it actually mattered. So people kind of were very like cringed out by it. And those were the main singles. And then after that, after those singles came Getaway Car, which was actually a pretty good song. But by that point, people had lost so much interest in Lover that that single didn't really matter. There is also a misconception from younger Swifties who were not there at the time that Cruel Summer was a single off of Lover. Cruel Summer was never a single off of Lover, okay? Cruel Summer was a real bona fide miss because it's a great song. You know, it's a total hit, right? But nobody heard Cruel Summer until Eras Tour. It was not a single off of Lover. The singles off of Lover were Me, You Need to Calm Down, and Getaway Car. And that was it. Okay. And that era overall really felt like Taylor Swift was being put out to pasture. It felt like she was losing cultural relevance, which is why she ended up falling in love with a man who did not want a life in the public eye and was going to fall back in a big way. Okay. You guys have to understand that the Kim Kardashian, like Kanye West, like Snakegate cancellation thing really did a lot of damage to Taylor Swift's career. And so like she was definitely on the decline and on her way out. And if you watch Miss Americana, Taylor Swift was aware of as much. And I think that that is also why it made sense for her to start a long-term relationship with Joe Alwyn. Now, things radically turned around with the Masters thing and the re-recording project, right? That really turned things around for her. And also followed by the Eras Tour. But at the end of the day, like, Lover was not an era that had anything that any artist today would want to copy. Lover was almost a death nail in Taylor Swift's career. So Olivia Rodrigo on her third album would not be copying somebody's rollout where their career almost ended as a result of it. Like, that's just simply not the case. It doesn't make any fucking sense. It's a ridiculous thing to say, honestly. And lastly, like when I saw Olivia Rodrigo painting a mural in LA, and I thought, who could she be inspired by? The first thing I thought of was the Charlie XCX Brat Wall. That's when the mural painting was done to really great effect, you know? So if anything, I think that she's taking cues from the Charlie XCX mural rollout. You know, that's really what this is. This is what it's taking cues from, which was a really cool kind of culturally relevant, like explosive way to kind of pop onto the scene. So that's what I think the mural wall is. So anyway, I just wanted to put a kibbutz on that narrative that I see some of these dummy Swifties out here saying, because they constantly love to compare Olivia and Taylor, and I just think it's fucking ridiculous, to be honest. And actually, and my next video is going to be on why I actually do not think that Olivia Rodrigo is a Taylor Swift's daughter. I actually think that that is very reductive to what her artistry is. So anyway, stay tuned for that video. It's coming later today, but I wanted to put this out there because I just wanted to kind of put the kibbutz on that nonsense. And yeah, that's what I have to say. All right, I'll see you guys next time. Bye.